Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Happy Monday. A little different view here. We are making the best of trying to coordinate schedules in a very hectic Friday. So we did what we could, and I'm so appreciative. I have a new guest with me here this week. Jane, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to jump on here with me and talk about all the very amazing things that you're doing right now to try to support educators across the globe here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you so much for rearranging the timing at short notice.
It's
It's always a challenge with a toddler,
it's
and with kids.
yep.
But I'm always super excited to have any opportunity to talk about supporting teachers and specifically helping support them with their workload management.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that was the main reason, obviously, that I reached out to you. I was a former high school English teacher. I've been out of the classroom for coming up on 10 years now, almost. But I do still have a wife who is very much in love with her job as a high school teacher, and I know how important it is to provide the support to educators. So I'm thankful to have you on here to discuss that. So jumping into that, what initially inspired you to start providing that support to other teachers and educators, being from the classroom yourself, what kind of stood out to you as, I need to do this for myself and I want to help others as well.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's been a long time coming. I still teach part-time, so I still am an active teacher
Mhm.
part-time, and then I am building my business, around that. And I really, personally, I massively struggled in my first year, 2 years of teaching geography full time. And I literally had no support. Like, I was sick constantly because I was working ridiculous hours, 60, 70 hours a week. And I just felt really neglected and had no support whatsoever with people coming to say, what are you doing? Can you do this differently? How can we help you? Can we take anything off your plate? No sort of professional development at all around workload management or, just taking care of yourself. And it was very much absent from any teacher training program. And
Mhm.
so I really easily could have been that statistic that left teaching within 2 years, like so many other newly qualified teachers do. And I think it was that really painful experience with teacher burnout that prompted me to want to share my experience with it, but also how you can recover from that and how you can actually develop some habits and some mindsets and have some practical tools to stop you taking the vast majority of your teacher work home. And it's not 100% possible to never ever do anything from home, but cutting it back massively is absolutely doable for most people, but they just haven't been shown the way, and I'm here to show them the way. So I wrote a book. I self-published a book because I didn't want it to be censored.
Mhm.
It's called Time Smart Teaching, and I wanted it to be, very true and very authentic and funny as well. Um, and that was done about 5 years ago, about 2018. And then since then, I've become a lot more, vocal with my tips for teachers on LinkedIn. So I post video content and written content, and I have a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So let's talk about some of the benefits here because teacher support is so important, but it's not just for, their own self-care and self-management, but in other ways. So, as you've kind of gone through this and provided this support to other educators, how have you found that support has positively impacted then the students and the community as a part of, trying to reduce the stress that's on educators so often?
Well, this sort the tips and the things that I give, they're so well received. It was kind of surprising to me about how many ex-teachers and current teachers there are out there, but ex-teachers like yourself that really want to get behind supporting other teachers, which is fantastic. I mean, the biggest impact that I see is really um, in the people that I've worked closely with. So when I was head of department, I would be training up new teachers and I would be very mindful that I was going to be a mentor for them, not just how to be a great teacher, but also how to manage their workload effectively. And as a result, those teachers never left. They were hardly ever off sick because I was doing my job to help them, support them, and teach them how to manage workload sustainably. And then more recently, The impact has been on a bigger scale. So I've been running things like LinkedIn Live events, so offering like free continuing professional development for teachers globally. They could just hop on LinkedIn Live event and learn some cool tools like how to use ChatGPT, for example, to reduce some of their workload, do some of their teacher admin for them. And so it's really amazing to see like people like flock to events like that or take my 14-day free teacher burnout challenge on my YouTube channel. And that is really what excites me and what lights me up. Get up in the morning is to think, right, I want to impact the lives of teachers positively as far and wide as I can, with the overall goal of keeping them in education or allowing them some free time to develop a side hustle
Yeah.
or do other things because they can do so much that they don't even realize. And I know this was a topic that you talked about in your last session on your episode with Chris, and how the fact that he actually recruited an ex-teacher and was so impressed by the skill set that they had.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's a great point, that when you're starting that transition, sometimes you try to jump right in, and that makes the process even more overwhelming than it already is. So
Yes.
great point to try to find out what you might want to do and explore that on the side before you decide to make the full move for sure.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And it is so much easier on your mindset and your stress levels to think, right, well, I can keep my foot in the door. I can stay teaching, or I can just do supply work
Mhm.
while I test out this other idea, or I build this other business, or see what other things I might want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So now that you've been doing this for some time and providing this support to some different educators, can you share maybe a memorable moment where you were able to see the positive impact on another teacher educator that you were providing support to? You've shared kind of the positive impact that it's had on yourself, but being able to pass that along, can you kind of give us a story there?
Yes, so like literally just this past week, I've launched and taught my beta test program, which is called Rolling Worksheets into Banknotes. And so I've taken a small group of educators, some still in the classroom, some recently transitioned out, and I've taught them how to basically start selling their resources online. Um, and the feedback from that's been amazing. So it's really opened their eyes as to that they have this kind of like little gold mine that they've been sat on that they didn't realize was there, that they can leverage and improve their income as a teacher. The pay rise is not just limited to whatever awful pay rise that the government is going to give them. So I
Mhm.
think teacher well-being is not just about, yes, let's give you more time, but let's give you more resources, let's get you more income, because that is also part of it.
Yeah, definitely. So to build off of that, when you look towards the future in education and providing the support advocacy for the mental health support that teachers will need, do you see this kind of big picture being something that school districts will have to adopt to reignite that passion within educators and have kind of that resource available in each school so that we're making sure that we're investing in the teachers' mental health and supporting them in that way?
Yeah, I do see that happening a little bit in the UK where I'm based. I'm not sure whether you start to see that happening in the USA, but we are starting now to see things like teacher well-being and workload being taught on some, not all, but some new teacher training programs, which is great to see. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of the schools say that they're working on teacher well-being, but in reality, what they're just doing is providing lip service. So that they're like giving a good talk, or they're giving them free coffee and cake, on them Wednesday morning meeting. But
Right.
then when it really comes to the crunch, when they can really do something to help teachers out, like for example, a school that I worked at recently had the opportunity to send like their whole staff home because the school had to close to students because of like a water issue, water main issue. But they still insisted that their staff stayed at school for like the whole day. And so that to me, that's more about what teacher well-being is really about. And I don't know if we're going to see huge shifts towards that. I'd like to think so, but the reality and truth being, I think it's going to come more from people like myself and the teacher coaches that we see pop up so often. They're
Mhm.
there because there is not the support being given by the schools in a lot of cases.
Yeah, definitely, definitely right. So to talk about some of the other projects and initiatives that you've started that you've been involved in, if people visit your LinkedIn page, that you give a great rundown of the different things and different resources that you provide to educators to assist them. And, one of those is your 14-day challenge, the Blitz Teacher Burnout. So, can you give us just kind of a basic intro in terms of what the goals are, what teachers should look to accomplish if participating in that with you?
Yeah, it's really just to start the ball rolling in terms of the quick wins, the things that you can do easily that are going to take a minute, 2 minutes, out of your day to basically implement some new work life habits or some new mindsets. So, for example, on the day one, you basically set yourself a really achievable workload management goal, and that's personal to you. So, that could be something like making it home once a week to collect your son or daughter from school,
Mhm.
or having, 2 or 3 evenings a week free of any school related work. And then the steps after that kind of support whatever goal you've chosen. And it's literally five minutes. All of the videos are like 5 minutes or less per day, because I am conscious that teachers are so time poor,
Right.
and I try to get like the maximum impact in the shortest faff and the shortest amount of time possible. And some of those things come from my book, but other things are things that I've learned since then, and they're kind of a bit newer. So, for example, I read Atomic Habits, which is the most amazing book. Have you read that?
I
Atomic
have not.
Habits.
No, I have not.
Oh my goodness. Anyone listening, it's such a great book. And it will really motivate anyone that's looking to achieve any goal. And so I've adopted some of those like atomic habits, methods and learnings into the for the 14-day challenge. And one of the best things was that you can install a new habit in just 2 minutes a day. You can start for 2 minutes a day, and you can and build on that. So one of the things that I mention in the 14-day challenge is just kind of like meditating for 2 minutes and visualizing your school day going well.
Mhm.
You get there on time, the kids are happy to see you. Visualize yourself leaving on time, and I do this little guided visualization where people are literally manifesting their day ahead, where they're leaving on time and they're seeing themselves leaving without taking any work home, when the car park is still full and the roads are clear because they're not in rush hour traffic. So it's a great thing for any teacher to do, because I'm sure that there's something there for everyone, a new tool, a new tip for everyone to benefit from.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the other thing that's on there that I found interesting because AI ChatGPT is it's kind of it's not going away. And everyone's kind of learning to embrace that now. And you have that as part of your headline on LinkedIn is, ChatGPT prompts for teachers. So how did that come about? What were some of the things that you found, I'm really able to manipulate AI ChatGPT to help me in the classroom as opposed to combating it like I think initially that a lot of people in education try to before seeing how they could use it to their benefit.
Yeah, I'm always looking for hacks, to make my teacher life better. And I know that teachers don't have the time to go through that trial and error process, right? Because they're so busy. So I was happy to do that on their behalf, and I was surprised at just how easy it was to pick up and use a tool like ChatGPT. And then we did the LinkedIn Live, and we brought a couple of experts in on that to chat about. These are just other teachers sharing ideas on how they'd use ChatGPT in the classroom. And that resource, that whole training that we did, is still free to look at on my Time Smart Teaching channel. And so I thought, I knew there was such a demand for that because we had so many people show up for the session. So I thought maybe I'll just write a step by step guide for teachers on how they can get started
Mhm.
planning a lesson using chat gpt. And then so there's a whole kind of like comment bank in there they can literally copy and paste. And the thing is, I think it's more the fear of the unknown more than anything. I think once teachers actually just make a start out of it, and I think they'll just run with it from there. They just
Mhm.
need help basically getting past the first hurdle of what could I do with it? What sort of things should I type into it? I just say to everyone, just talk to it like a person. Imagine you've got a PA in your classroom or a teaching assistant. someone you're literally is there to plan your lessons for you, and just talk to them like a person. And that is really the secret of it, I think, is just pretend it's a person, because that's kind of the role that it's doing. It's just an extension of you.
Right, right, yeah, and great advice there too. Is maybe first time I tried to play around with it, I didn't know where to start either until I got similar advice. You know, it's just kind of an extension, so use it that way. So that's great that you found that. So before I let you go here, last question I always ask everyone who joins me is the advice question, and you've given fantastic advice, you know, at this point already. But you know, for someone who, you know, like myself, a former educator, or people currently in the classroom, or people who have no experience teaching, but still want to help with that support initiative, what would you say are kind of those first steps that you usually advise people to when they say, "Hey, I want to help. What is the best way for me to provide this support? You know, how can we be involved in the overall goal of assisting educators and their initiatives?" What's usually that key first piece of advice you give to anyone who asks you, you know, how can I support this cause that you've taken on?
I think it's literally as simple as just remembering to thank a teacher that you come into contact with, whether that's someone who's taught you in the past, whether that's a teacher of your son or daughter, whether that's, and just even if you can't do that, refrain from, hating on teachers. We get a lot of kind of abuse sometimes, teachers. I don't know quite why that is, but everyone thinks they're a teacher expert. Just treat them with like the professional respect that's due to them. And that was my post for this week: is can we just treat teachers with professional respect? And if you can share a post, or if you can just offer some personal support to a teacher, tell them they're doing a great job. Honestly, those things, simple things, go an awful long way to help teachers just continue to feel motivated. Just show that you care and you appreciate them. It's really as simple as that.
All right, perfect. Well, Jane, you know, before we close out here, take some time. You know, I know you mentioned the book that you authored, and that you have a site. So, you know, where can people find you? Where can they visit to, you know, get more involved in the things that you're doing? And then we'll close up.
Okay, great. So the book and the YouTube channel are called the same thing to make it easier. So the book and the channel is called Time Smart Teaching. It's available as an ebook and a hardback, and it's available on Amazon. The YouTube channel, there's lots of free video content on there available for teachers all around the world. I am adding to that on a weekly basis. And don't forget to sign up to LinkedIn so that you can join in on one of our free upcoming CPD sessions for our LinkedIn Live. And that's me. I'm on LinkedIn more than anywhere else. So I would say if you want to connect or ask a question, then find me on there under Jane Bell.
All right, perfect. Well, I appreciate again you taking the time out of your busy day to jump on here with me. It's great insight that you've passed along. If you're looking to support this initiative, make sure you're connecting with Jane. Hope you have a great week watching, listening, however you've taken this episode in. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. Okay, take care.